What's up, my people, and welcome to Turo Tuesdays. This video is about action. By the end of this video, you're going to have what you need to get your Turo business up and running, have your cars listed, and sit back and count the cash. All that good money you're going to be making. This video is about action. This is episode 2. If you haven't seen episode 1, you should go back and watch that first, because that's about mindset and everything you need to know before you decide to jump into this game. And this is set up as a series, so you can start with episode 1 and you're going to be able to walk through each video in order and learn everything that I'm learning as I go through and set up my Turo business and get everything going. But without further ado, let's jump right into the information and let's get started. I got 6 things I want to share with you about getting your business set up. And these are things that I actually did. The first thing you want to do is create your account. Also, you want to read the terms of service, because you may have a lot of questions. You may watch videos like this one. You may be in Facebook groups or on Reddit or all kind of places. But the terms of service is what matters. Whenever things happen, whenever you reach out to Turo, whenever you need some real assistance, the terms of service is what you are binded to. So you want to read those so you have a clear understanding of exactly what this thing is and what you're getting yourself into. So sign up for the account and read the terms of service. The second thing you want to do is set up your business. Now, I talked about how I'm setting up my business, and that's as an LLC, and why I'm setting it up that way. That's all in the first episode. So I'm not going to go into all those details, but you want to get your business set up and structured. If you're setting it up as a sole proprietorship, then it's pretty straightforward, but you still need to do all but the first 2 things that we're about to go over. So if you're going to be like me and set your business up as an LLC, then what you want to do is actually structure the LLC. Go to your Department of Treasury website for your state, find out what the requirements are, and fill out the paperwork, pay the fees, and get it going. A great resource that I use is called llcuniversity.com. This is a website that lists all 50 states and all the requirements for each state. And it's just an easy place to see what's required for your state in one specific place. Or you can go straight to your state's website. Like I'm in Florida, so I can go to SunBiz and I can get everything I need straight from the state. But either one of these are some great resources for you. Now, once you have your LLC structured, the next step is to get your EIN. Now, this is your tax identifier number. This is for your business, and this is something you're going to get from the IRS. This is a free thing to get. This doesn't cost money. You jump on their website, you fill out your information, and they literally print off a piece of paper. They give you a screenshot of your EIN and a letter showing that you have that, and now that's recorded with the IRS. These first 2 things, don't pay a lot of money to get this done. Don't pay somebody hundreds or thousands of dollars to get you an EIN and structure your LLC. The only way I would say it's important to spend some money on this is if you have a more complex LLC, if you have multiple members that's going to be in this LLC. But if you're going to be just a single member LLC, which is basically a sole proprietorship with the limited liability designated on there, if that's the case, then use the resources I mentioned in this video and get your LLC set up for little to no cost. This do bring me to one thing. LLCs are public information. I believe all but 2 states share information and make it public who owns the LLC. So not that you can hide behind an LLC, but if you don't want somebody to be able to Google your state's Department of Treasury website and type in the name of your company and be able to pull up your name and what other personal information you put on that application, maybe your home address is your business address, then what you could do is register or set up your LLC with a registered agent, and that's going to be a fee associated with that. I'm going to leave some links down in the description of this video to the tools that I use. Like I use Northwest Registered Agent. It was not that expensive, and I like the fact that it gives me just a little bit of privacy. So I'm not affiliated with those guys, but I'm going to put the links to all these things I'm talking about in the description. But get that set up. Get your LLC set up, EIN. The next thing you want to do is you want to open a bank account. And even if you're a sole proprietorship, in fact, if you're a sole proprietorship and you're not going to register as a C Corp, S Corp, or LLC, everything else that I'm talking about here, you have to do as well, or it's a good idea for you to do. And I would recommend it. So you want to open up a bank account, and that's so you can separate your expenses and you're not combining your business expenses with your personal expenses. Now, when I opened up mine, I ran into a little issue because some banks didn't want to do business with a rental car company. They deemed it as risky. And I tried some local guys. I tried some national credit unions. I just ran into some issues. And if that's you, don't stop. Just keep going, because there is a bank out there who don't care that you're renting cars. They'll do business with you. Just keep searching and open up that account. The next thing you want to do is set up your accounting software and hire a CPA. Now, you don't have to hire a CPA, but you definitely want to have some accounting software. And this could be QuickBooks or FreshBooks, or it could be an Excel spreadsheet. It don't have to be something fancy, but you want a way to be able to track your income and your expenses. And you want to do this from day one. That's going to help you when it's this time of the year, tax time of the year. You don't want to be sitting here in January trying to think back to expenses you had back last January. Not a good look. So get that set up, because we want to get this thing structured and set up right before you get going, before you spend your hard-earned money. Now, those are some of the things that you want to do to get your business set up, and I can make videos on each one of those and go into much greater detail, but that's the general gist. That's exactly what I did. The next thing I had to do was decide on which cars I wanted to purchase. Now, this is where things are going to start coming together, because now you have to ask yourself, what kind of customer are you looking for? Who is your client? Who do you want to serve? Who do you not want to serve? What's your budget? You want to analyze the market. What cars are going to do well in your particular market? And there is no one answer that's going to just be a default for everybody. Oh, if you buy, a Corvette, you're going to be great. And if you buy a Tesla, it's going to rent out every day. This is not true across the board. It really depends on your particular market and a whole host of parameters that you put around that. So you really have to dig in. And for me, I said in the first video that I was starting this business up with cash, because I think car payments suck. I make videos on getting out of debt and managing your money and things that I've went through in my life. I just don't like debt and I don't like payments. So for me, I'm setting it up with cash. Now, right out the gate now, that's going to limit me versus somebody who want to finance their cars. Because if you want to finance the car, you could buy whatever you get approved for. But since I'm paying cash, now I automatically have a cap on what I can spend. And for me, I wanted to buy one car just to get it out there, put it on the platform, see how it worked. And then if it was a good fit for me, then I wanted to quickly scale and get 2 cars on the platform. So for my first car, I wanted to spend about $5,000, no more than $5,000. And that's for the car. Because you also got to think about other expenses that's going to be associated with getting the car up on a platform. Whether that's floor mats or some type of maintenance item, oil change, you have to register the car, you have to get your insurance on the car, and we're going to talk more on the insurance here later, but you definitely got to get all these things in place, and every single one of these things have dollar signs associated with them. And one thing that I found in my research, and I'm glad I researched it, is in my state, the state of Florida, the rules are different when you're registering a car under a LLC. The fees are different, and so is the registration schedule. So that could be something that could catch you off guard if you don't do your research ahead of time. So you definitely want to do your research. Now for me, when I was looking at my car, $5,000, that's not a lot of money to buy a car. Now I said in the first video, I've been under the hood of cars since I was like 3 or 4, so I'm no stranger to turning a wrench. So I wasn't afraid to buy something that maybe needed a little bit of work. But I still had to think about the platform, because what customer am I trying to serve? How is this car going to perform? And so for me, when I look at my area, South Florida, I'm seeing pages and pages and pages of Teslas and BMWs and Mercedes and all these cars. And I'm like, man, how can I compete with those guys? I mean, you had to scroll 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages. You had to get way deep to find like a Toyota Camry. So it's like, how am I going to compete with those guys? And the answer is, with a $5,000 budget, I was not going to be able to compete with those guys. So I had to figure out, how am I going to fit into this market with all these nice, newer, more expensive cars. So for me, I started looking at something that was, something that was unique for my area. We have a lot of tourism. We have a lot of people coming. They love going to the beach. They love zipping around different areas. We got a lot of beaches in different, 30 minutes here, 45 minutes there. So we have a lot of tourist activity here. And that's something I wanted to tap into. So I wanted to get something that was easy to drive, something that was small, something that was unique, something that you couldn't get from a traditional rental car company. So what kind of car is this? I didn't know at the time, but those were my parameters, right? So I wanted to get something that was unique and easy to get around and a decent car. Now, I started looking at Turo and I started reading what they had to say. What cars do they say perform well on their platform? And then I started matching that up with my area and seeing how many of those cars were in my area, looking at their past performance and seeing what I could get, narrowing down my list. And I came up with a Fiat 500 as my first car. That was what I wanted to get. It was small, easy to drive, good on gas. And even though it's a Fiat and it's not like some exotic car, it's also not a car that you see a lot. It's not a car that's sold well in America. And it's something that you can't rent at a traditional rental car agency. So I decided on a Fiat 500. That made the short list. A Mini Cooper convertible made the list. A minivan made the list. Ford Escape made the list. So I had a few cars on my list and I started looking at what I could get. So this is the point in time where you want to decide what car you want to purchase. And the truth is that you're not going to know what car is going to really perform until you buy it and put it on the platform. Now, I have other videos coming in future episodes that's going to really dig into this topic, but this is a step in getting your Turo business up and running. The fourth thing you want to do is once you decide what car you want to buy, and you definitely want to narrow that down to one or two cars so you're not just all over the place. The fourth thing you have to do is buy the car. Get the insurance, get the car registered, and make sure that it's eligible to be on the Turo platform. In order to be eligible to be on the platform, it has to be, it has to have less than 120,000 miles. It has to be no more than 12 years old. And don't worry, if you buy a car that's 11 years old and it's got 128,000 miles, once you get it on the platform, as long as it get a rental before it hit those cutoff parameters, it's good to stay. It's grandfathered in. So you are good to buy any car that fits the parameter. Now, getting the insurance. When you're buying a car and you're listing and you're going to register it under your LLC, this is going to affect the insurance. This is some stuff that I had to figure out through my research. So when you buy a car and you register it under an LLC, you can't just call up your personal insurance company and have them add that car to your personal vehicles that you have for your daily drivers. That's not going to fly because now this car is registered for commercial use. It's registered for business use, which means you have to get commercial insurance. So you have to look and see what's available out there. And a lot of companies won't deal with small startup companies. And Turo is new. Even though it's being talked about and it's growing and all that, in the world of insurance, in the world of business, it's a new company. And a lot of folks haven't adjusted their policies to include the language to support Turo. So two companies that I found that would work with small companies just getting started and supported Turo, didn't have a problem with that, was ABI and GMI. So you can Google those and check those out, and I'll have videos coming in future episodes talking in much detail about those insurance companies. But you want to find an insurance company and get your insurance. You want to make sure all this stuff is set up right. So that way when the car go out on its first booking and you're excited and you're ready to make some money and the guest crash your car, totals it out, you got everything squared away and you're ready, and it's not as big of a deal as it would be if you missed one of these steps. Now, the fifth thing I had to do was I had to get trackers installed. Now, GPS trackers is a hot topic. Some people say you need them, other people say you don't. But for me, it was about how I wanted to run my business. So a GPS tracker will allow you to find your car wherever it's at, right? And then you also have the ability on some of them to kill the car. So if somebody don't return the car, if it's stolen, you can shut it down where they can't start the car again. And that makes it easier for you or Turo to repo the car. Those were some features that I was interested in, but the big thing for me was I did not want to be interacting with folks and meeting people to give them the keys to the car. And that's for a variety of reasons. One, I know when you're traveling and all that, it's so much that's out of your, pretty much everything is out of your control when you travel. Like your you're showing up and you are putting your life and everything in someone else's hands, saying, please get me there safely. And so things can happen, and you can have, late flights, delayed flights, missing luggage, all kinds of stuff that can cause you to be late to the rental car company, right? So I didn't want to have to deal with those stressors. Now, a lot of people will suggest that you put a lockbox on the window of the car, and that gives you a little code, and people can jump in, grab the keys, and off they go. But where I'm going to keep my cars and where I knew I wanted to have my cars, I didn't want to have a lockbox hanging off the window. So I had to get some other type of way to enable that remote access. And remember, I'm buying a $5,000 car, so it's not like I'm buying a new Tesla with a key card and an app and 4G and Wi-Fi built in. So I had to find another method. So I started looking at alarm systems that had the ability to connect to cell towers, give you GPS tracking, and allow you to unlock the car from your app. So for me, that's why I had to go with a tracker. I mean, having a tracker was nice and being able to know where the car was at. That's a good thing. But for me, it was more about being able to unlock the car from my phone, so I didn't have to meet with guests and I didn't have to have lock boxes hanging off the windows. So that's the next thing. You want to get your trackers installed, and you don't want to skip any of this, because if you're in Facebook groups, if you watch enough YouTube videos, if you are on Reddit, you will hear horror stories of cars being stolen, totaled, damaged, all on the first rental. So don't think that you have time and you're just going to get this stuff done later, because it could be your very first guest and you may need these things. And a small investment up front could save you thousands of dollars on the back end. So definitely get this stuff set up right. The last thing I had to do after everything we talked about in this video was in play was list the vehicle. This is where you take your pictures, you write your descriptions, you set all your parameters, and now the car is out there. People can find it in the search results and they can book your car. And this is the most gratifying step, because now all the money you've spent, all the research you've done, everything is coming together now and you're ready to make some money. Now, I do want to bring up a point about listing a vehicle, and it goes back to buying the vehicle. I mentioned about the cutoff for the age and the mileage. There's another crucial thing, two crucial things when you're buying a car that could prevent you from listing these vehicles. The first thing is that your car cannot have any open recalls. So this is something you want to check before you buy the car. You can check this at the National Highway and Traffic Safety website. You can punch in your VIN number and you can see if there's any open recalls. And a bonus tip for you is, in addition to just open recalls, it may behoove you to see how many recalls that car has had, because some cars have way more recalls than others. And every time a car has an open recall, they delist the car and you can't do anything until you get that recall fixed. And so that could be time that your car is down and you're losing money, and you don't know when or if it's going to be fixed, because the recalls are dependent upon the manufacturer. And there have been recalls where there's no fix action. But again, make sure you're locked in, you're subscribed, your notifications are turned on, because as I walk through this journey with you, we're going to talk about all of this in much, much greater detail. Another thing you want to pay attention to is the status of your title, because you can only list a car with a clean title. And this has gotten plenty of people, because you buy a car that has a clean title, or it says you have a physical title that don't show that it's salvaged or damaged. You pull up your vehicle history, you don't see nothing. You go to list it, you punch the VIN in, Turo pops up and says it's a salvage title. You can't list this car. What do? You already spent the money, you bought the car. Well, that's a tricky situation, but long story short is, if Turo says that it has a salvage title, there's nothing you can do about it. They're using third-party companies to find this information. But you want to find out before you buy the car, because you having that clean title in your hand won't mean nothing if Turo tell you that it can't be listed. So here's another bonus tip for you. Before you buy a car, what you could do is you can jump on an app, add a car, punch in the VIN number, and if it can't be added, it'll just tell you right then and there. And that way, it don't matter what the title says or what the seller is trying to tell you about the car, you've already punched it in and either it went through or it didn't. And if you don't buy that car, it's not a big deal to just delete that listing. But that's a surefire way for you to find out if the car can be listed. All right, there you have it. Those were the 6 things I had to do to get my Turo business off the ground. And I want you to comment down below and tell me which one of these steps is holding you back. Which one of these steps would you like more information on? Because hashtag Turo Tuesdays is here to stay. I'm going to be dropping these videos every week. We're going to jump on the computer. We're going to be on the app. I'm going to show you the behind the scenes, show you exactly what I'm doing to get started, to grow and expand my fleet. And I want to learn from each other. I want to grow together. So make sure you're here and make sure your notifications are turned on. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, give it a thumbs down. But leave a comment and let me know what I'm doing wrong and what we can do better. And until next time, my name is Diamond. Peace. See you next Tuesday.